Now, BJP swept the state of Odisha and the assembly elections as well, which was in fact a surprise to many, winning as many as 78 of the total 147 seats. Former MP from BJD Tathagata Satpathy slammed VK Pandian over handling of the elections and the loss faced by BJD. He added that Lord Jagannath withdrew his blessings from BJD over the Parikrama project and that the people of Odisha have seen through attempt of a civil servant to take over the party.
I primarily think that whoever has disturbed our Lord Jagannath, I am not saying this politically, not saying this religiously, but in a political sense, whoever has touched Lord Jagannath has had to suffer. The way the Puri temple was disturbed and that Parikrama project was taken up, that was one reason why I think the blessing was withdrawn from the edifice that the BJD had become. The BJD is not someone's private party. It was the aspirations and the hopes of the Odia masses that had bestowed the blessings on that system, on that party, and they could have utilized it even further by being more positive towards the state. But by the way they were going ahead politically, compromising at every stage to safeguard their own interest, that backfired. Whereas in the neighboring Bengal, if you see, because there was no compromise, there was no fall. But these people compromised and they disturbed the Lord and they suffered. Whoever has disturbed the Lord has suffered. Even earlier also in history in Odisha, we have seen this many a times. Well, the way the BJD was being manipulated, the way all political elements were driven out, the way one former civil servant thought that he could take over the party by controlling one individual. That party does not belong to an individual. It belongs to the Odia race. And it will again reinvent itself. I am certain the party will reinvent itself. Maybe the name will change, but the political drive of the Odia race will remain and it will be successful even in future. So let us not write off the party or the organization. We will have to write off some individuals. And that has been done, and whether it is a government officer or whether it is a government officer who has taken voluntary retirement, these individuals are of no consequence for the people of Odisha. They did not approve the funny type of behavior that was shown to them. It is not money that can buy people here. It is the love and the genuineness that can buy the Odia people. And they rejected the way they were behaved with. They just simply did not want to deal with that kind of a person. See, I personally feel the BJP will not send any of its any of its MPs who have won, because that will decrease the number in Delhi for them in Lok Sabha. So I do not think any of the MPs will be able to come back. So there will be a choice of somebody from within the legislative party. I think the BJP has enough young people with bright ideas and politically very mature. I can even name one or two people like that. And I think that will be good for the state to have a change. And I personally believe there should be a change every 5 years. Odisha should not again go for a long-term system.
All right, my colleague Shreya joining us here on the show. Shreya, Tathagata is one of the many people who are now looking to blame BJD and especially VK Pandian for that massive defeat that BJD has seen in the assembly elections. Many were seeing this as a surprise. For BJD, it's a surprise. For Naveen Patnaik, it's a surprise. But I think the one man who is going to take the blame would be Pandian.
Absolutely, Shweta. In fact, as June 4th, delivered a lot of surprises in terms of results. I think Odisha emerged out as one special state where we could see it on two fronts. Not just the results for the Lok Sabha elections, but also the results of their assembly polls where the BJP swept with 78 seats. Now, the question remains, and as the question you also pointed out, as to why the BJD is in such a state after a 24-year long term of Naveen Patnaik. And I'm going to break this down in the next few minutes. I'm just going to break it down to a few factors. Number one, very well pointed, is VK Pandian. As Tathagata, the former MP from the BJD, also mentioned that VK Pandian has, over the years, he has always been the man behind Naveen Patnaik, and it is known that he is the one who controls the entire situation in Odisha while, being in action from the back foot. But now that people are looking at the situation in Odisha, the Odia race seems to be done with that one-man game, and they do not have their confidence in an outsider, which is VK Pandian, because remember, VK Pandian doesn't come from Odisha, he is a Tamilian, he comes from the state of Tamil Nadu. So that is one reason. And as Tathagat also mentioned that, the BJD was being manipulated, the way all political elements were driven out, and the way one former civil servant thought that he could take over the party by controlling one individual. This is one very crucial factor that the people of Odisha have, the voters had in their mind. This factor resonated with them while they were voting for them. And when we speak of the Parikrama project as well that Tathagat has mentioned while speaking to the news agencies, that in itself, the Jagannath temple is considered to be extremely holy, and it is being said. The Parikrama project was one that was introduced around 2019, but there were a series of cases that were being brought up in the Supreme Court, the PILs, because there is a provision, remember, that within the 100-meter of the Jagannath temple, there's no construction that's allowed. And in fact, I'll also take you back to another incident. While Parikrama, the entire Parikrama project is worth 800 crores, and it finally did get inaugurated in 2024, earlier in this year itself. Last year, VK Pandian had faced a lot of backlash because the Jagannath temple, he had brought in a social media influencer, Kamia Jani, who was brought in to promote the Jagannath temple, promote this project as well, and it was later revealed that she's a beef eater. Why this didn't go down well with the Odiaris or the Odia voters is because the sanctity of the Jagannath temple was violated, because no beef eater until and unless it's the tradition there that no one of such such character will be allowed inside the Jagannath temple. They have to go through a purification process, and we know that the people of Odisha are extremely deep-seated and deep-rooted with their traditions, especially that surround the Jagannath temple. So these are some of the key points, especially VK Pandian. And remember, this, in fact, the entire conversation about VK Pandian taking over, that is exactly why Naveen Patnaik only a few days ago had even done a press conference where he mentioned that VK Pandian is not his successor. So these are some of the points that led to the results that we saw yesterday.
All right. Thank you very much for summing that up. VK Pandian is not my successor. That was the word coming in from Naveen Patnaik, just right ahead of those crucial elections in Odisha. But having said that, BJD still lost. BJP won about 78 of the 147 seats. This is not a defeat that Naveen Patnaik would have ever thought in his wildest dreams. He was the sitting chief minister for over 24 years. He was looking to come back for a 6th successive term. It did not happen. In fact, he lost the second seat apart from Hinjli, where he was contesting from another blow to Naveen Patnaik and VK Pandian. And of course, questions will be raised on what the BJD has done, and has it done enough to consolidate its vote base.